All right, good morning, guys. Quick sound check. Let me know if you can hear me. Sound check on 1, 2. How's everybody doing this morning? It is November 11th, 2019, 11/11/19, Monday morning here. Hope you guys are all doing great. It is also Veterans Day, so if you guys see a veteran today, thank a veteran. Take a moment and, again, thank them for their service. Really appreciate everything they've done for us. And that means it's a bank holiday as well. So we'll talk about that here in just a second as well. But again, give thanks to all the veterans out there for a quick second. And sound is good. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So I am back at the desk. So Jay and I spent the past couple of days, flew out on Wednesday, and we spent from Wednesday until like middle of the day yesterday out in Vegas. And so yeah, I really haven't had a chance to kind of look at the markets. I took a couple trades from my phone and managed a couple things out while I was there because I did have a Google position on and stuff like that. So I had some plans already in place. I didn't add any additional plans to what it was that I was looking for. And overall, last week, it's been much of the same. So what I'm seeing right now, like consistently, has been like it's pretty much one trade, maybe two, that pretty much like make up the entire week. So last week it was Google on Thursday. I think Google ended up being good for like a little over $11,000, almost $12,000 on Thursday. McDonald's last week was good for, I want to say like 35 or 3,800. I still have to go back and review numbers, which I did not do last night for last week because I went to bed at like 9 o'clock last night when I got back. So I say all of that to say that today is going to be a light day for me here. I'm going to run, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the stream open. So for those of you listening on YouTube for the first time, typically what I do is I come on, I give my morning analysis, my trade plan here, and then about 9:25, 9:26, somewhere around there, I cut it off and I come back with everyone live in the Discord for the first hour to hour and a half of the day. I'm just going to leave this stream open for the day. So if you guys are in here right now, then you guys will be good to go there. And partially that's just me not wanting to end and redo and all that fun stuff today. So what I'm looking at the moment here, so we do have a bank holiday right now. If we take a look at Forex Factory calendar, you can see all day USD bank holiday here for us. So that means the large majority of kind of the bond market and the overall equities side of things in terms of money moving, exchanging hands and stuff like that is pretty much at a halt today. And we can clearly see that when it comes to the bonds today, which is something that I was kind of pointing out in the morning write-up. I like the volume in the S&Ps. We're at 193,000 contracts. That's not terrible, but the bond market's sitting at 30,000 contracts on the day. That's pretty terrible. Gold looking pretty good, 120,000 contracts here. But overall, the bond market is, like I said, kind of the driving factor today in terms of, the bank holiday there. So that is all making sense to me here. We do have a little bit of a gap down situation this morning. We've got S&Ps down 0.40%, NASDAQ down 0.40, Russell is the weakest, down 0.53, and then the Dow down 0.39. So Russell's kind of the standout there to the downside this morning, and a lot of that probably on crude oil getting a little bit more of a move to the downside. So I'm going to review a couple levels here real quick in the S&Ps, and then also talk about one of the reasons that I am not necessarily looking to trade today. I do still have swing positions on open in Amazon, CMG, McDonald's, and UA that we put on from the other week. So I still will manage those positions out accordingly. They're all capped risk. They're all defined risk. Some of them are in the money at the moment. Some of them are not. And I'll just let those positions manage themselves out here. So what I'm looking at right now here for the S&Ps, we've got a level up here, 30.9350s that I think needed a trade there on kind of Friday into today, and we just couldn't quite get that level there. It was important that we held 79 quarters here. And I typed that into the Discord channel on Thursday, actually, that we needed to hold that in order to continue to go higher. You can see we pulled back on Thursday right to this 79 quarter level there. If we zoom in, you can see the low of this bar ended up being 78.75, 78.75. So we tested that level pretty much to the tick there on Thursday, held it going into Friday, and then continued to push higher on Friday. So 79 quarters was a really, really important level, and it did in fact hold. But we're currently printing 77.75s here this morning, and that level is not looking like it wants to hold here at the moment. So I've got a zone in place here, 30.79 quarters to 30.80.75, so $1.50 zone here in the S&Ps. If we're trying to manage and hold that level, again, we can see some tails kind of down through this zone. It's going to really dictate what the close does here for the first hour of the day. But as long as we can hold this zone, then I think we're good for a move higher back to 30.93.50s, and then from there, kind of 3100s and wherever it wants to run from there. If we're not able to hold this zone, I think we have room down to 30.66 quarters kind of as a first area, and then ultimately I think 30.56.75s there. And potentially, we've got a lot more room to drop if that continues to kind of stay in the downtrend on the hourly chart. So what I'm thinking mostly here off the open is going to be some really, really whippy action back and forth. If we take a look at the extended session here from the overnight and just kind of look at what we've done since we kind of dropped down into this range, it has been rather whippy. Again, this is on kind of lighter volume compared to what you'll see obviously at the open, but you can see we've got some tails that kind of whip down here, take some time, rally back here 2-3 hours, and then in a 5-minute bar we literally give back over half of that entire rally back. Then we start basing again. Now we just got new lows here in the overnight session, and we're just kind of back and forth in and around this zone for the majority of the overnight session so far. And again, I'm more inclined to lean a little bit to, and this is one of those tricky things where it is a bank holiday, so theoretically should have lighter volume, which we do have just a little bit of lighter volume. And that typically ends up kind of giving us a slow grind to the upside on the day. Obviously, we haven't seen that so far yet today. So I'm kind of conflicted where the norm for holidays is a slow kind of grind to the upside, nothing really major going on. But at the same time, this hourly and daily chart are potentially looking like we want to get a nice breakdown. So hourly chart here is going to be gapping under pivots. Daily chart here is actually going to be a pro gap to the downside. The open on Friday was 80.75s. We're going to be gapping, if we open right here, we're going to be gapping about 3 points under that level, taking out a green bar from Friday. So at least taking out the body of the green bar. So again, that is bearish in and of itself. With the gap, we're gapping under the pivots. So the whole kind of combination of those things is bearish. The lighter volume, the holiday, that type of thing is obviously bullish. So it's kind of an interesting spot here. And one of the reasons that I'm not necessarily looking to trade this, we got about 2 minutes to go before the bell here, is I haven't really looked at a chart since really Tuesday. Hopped on a flight early Wednesday, did a little bit of chart work on the flight, just kind of got a plan for the next few days there, and then pretty much managed everything else from my phone while I was in Vegas. So my game plan when I do things like that, and I'm not necessarily at the desk for a consistent basis, if I'm taking more than 2 days off prior to a weekend, it's giving me 4 days of a rest period. It was a really nice, kind of refreshing rest period away from the charts for a little bit. Not that I really got rest, but the market just spiked down there. What we got? Yeah. So I like to just kind of ease back into that after a longer weekend, and that's essentially what I have at this point. So there's nothing wrong with doing that. If you take a few days off and you're kind of coming back and you're sitting down at the desk and you're ready to go and you just start clicking buttons and placing orders, right from the get-go, chances are if you track that, it's not going to be your better days. Do I think gold can push back higher today? No, so I think gold actually is at a really important point. Um, we got the bell in about 30 seconds here. And again, I'm not looking to do too much at the open, so I'm going to continue to kind of talk through some of this stuff. But um, gold here, I would put it in the chat with Jay, and I actually should have posted that. But we've been talking about it here for a few weeks now, kind of inside this range that it's had, up here. And basically, when we were kind of up and through here, I was looking for 1519s to break to the upside, and we could get a really nice move to the long side. Market just opened there, and Dow actually clearing all of Friday's trading action here on the gap down. S&P's, Nasdaq, and Russell not quite yet. But then I mentioned if we crack 1505s here, we're sub 1480s in a hurry. That happened in pretty much 48 hours there, and we're continuing to drop here. So for those of you that have been following along with like the gold analysis and the nightly videos and stuff like that, I was looking for a move, potentially down here into kind of 1440s before we really get any kind of traction for a rally here. So I think gold is most likely kind of sideways to small rallies at the moment. But ultimately, I still think it needs a bit more of a drop here. And realistically, we could see sub 1400s in gold. It's really going to depend on kind of how these reactions are as we get down into some of these lower levels. But yeah, so gold is not something I would want to be long here at the moment. The pressure is to the downside in that one. All right, market's open here. Take a look at the S&Ps. And all right, S&P's opening print coming in here. 3076s on the day. So we did get the gap down kind of under this zone here at the moment. Again, the Dow cleared all of Friday's trading and gapping down pretty decently in that one. Under the 27,540 base there. And let's take a look here. Let me know if you guys have symbols you want me to take a look at as well. I did see Tesla was gapping up just a little bit this morning. Something that's actually gapping up. Well, Tesla's actually moving pretty nicely now. Something that's gapping up this morning has relative strength to this market here. And yeah, Tesla ripping to the upside there. That's hitting that 346.21, that upper level of resistance now. So I would look for Tesla to kind of base out here if it can, or push through and pull back for entries in Tesla. I don't know where it necessarily goes from here, but I would be a little bit cautious, like right specifically here, trying to place orders in there. CGC, small gap down. This is that canopy growth. I don't really see much to do in here. Down like 2% today. 50 cents, yeah. Had a nice move on Friday, good volume there, but most likely just needs a hourly pullback there. And then potentially move higher. The daily chart's just a mess in a downtrend. If you can't see anything, just refresh the screen. There is a screen being shared. Check your quality too. You might be able to change the setting on the quality. If it's a little bit grainy, it's most likely on your end. I am streaming it in full 1080p. So click the little gear icon thingy. All right, S&P is pushing back up through opening print just a little bit. Nasdaq has not done the same yet. Dow is trying to at the moment, putting in a big bottoming tail. And I'm going to take a look here at the visualized map, see what's kind of moving this morning. Anybody else having issues with the screen? I don't see any dropped. I have 0 dropped frames. Let me know if you guys have any issues with the stream. Quality of the picture, at least. Tesla coming off that resistance level up there. No problem with the stream. Picture perfect. Okay. Yeah, it's got to be something on your end there. Maybe close it out, open it back up. I use Chrome, so maybe if you're not using Chrome, maybe Google does not like if you're using Safari or something like that. Can't imagine that would be a major issue, but again, like I said, I would have been cautious right here with Tesla. It had kind of smacked up into that 346.21 resistance level there, coming back off of it now. So again, it needed to either base for entries or push up through and pull back, none of which it has done right now. So new positions in Tesla would be, like I said, I think a little bit tricky here. Take a look at Apple. Small gap down, bringing it back a bit. Amazon's daily chart's looking pretty good here. It'll need to hold somewhere through here and should pump back up through those kind of 1814s there. New highs on the day for everything but the NASDAQ here on this second 5-minute bar so far. Awesome. Appreciate that, Gabriel. Bonds have added a whopping 2,000 contracts to its daily volume here since the opening bell. That is not a lot. 32,541 contracts on the day. I'm an electrician, and I think there's actually something wrong on your end. I would try to refresh or log back out and log back in. I'm showing 0 drop frames, and the 2 to 3 other people that say the stream's working perfectly, I don't think is a coincidence either. I mean, if you think there's a problem with the stream, maybe you could call up Google, tell them you're an electrician, and see if they need some help. That would be a good idea, I think. I used to be an electrician, by the way, as well. So I do respect the profession there. You gotta love it. All right, NASDAQ trying to push back up through the open here. S&Ps are right under that kind of 79 quarter to 80.75 zone here. Like I said, I was expecting the open to be kind of fairly whippy here so far, and we're contained pretty much right inside the first 5-minute range of the day. Would I enter Tesla above 347? No, it needs to either base around that 346.21 and then break out later, or rally above it and give pullback entries, preferably 5-minute buy setups in there. So it might need to trade, 347.20s, 347.50s, and then get a nice, 2-3 bar pullback in there to the 346.21s for an entry. I mean, if you're dead set on Tesla going, screaming higher on the day, then, take a small feeler position, knowing that you're getting in early and that you might not get a re-entry, or you might get a re-entry at some point, and then scale that into full size at some point if it does. But I wouldn't take it any more than like 10% of a full size position here. Tesla is definitely strong on the day, but again, knowing that risk of, it basically has room to pull back to 341.59s. And Tesla's whipping pretty aggressively today. So I would wait for one of those two scenarios for an entry myself. There we go. I would refresh the entire browser, clear your cache in your browser too. I'm an IT guy. I like it. I hate clearing my cache though. I I refuse to do it personally. Deletes all your stuff. All right. 10 minutes into the day here. We've gone a whole lot of nowhere here. It looks like Nasdaq might actually want to break down, kind of grab new lows on the day here. Might set up a kind of little mini divergence here first thing. So we'll see if that sets up. Give me just 2 seconds. I'll be right back. All right, Nasdaq came down, got the new lows. Only market to do so, and no signal in place here. Goog down $11. Goog L. If you want an aggressive long here in the Nasdaq, I think you're looking at 82.0650s here. So far, that's low of the day. There you go. Nice pop back. So for those of you that know what the divergence trade is, we were looking for that before the market broke down to the new lows. Dow new highs on the day now. S&P's right back up to prior highs here. So this trade, you could be long anywhere from 82.0650s to kind of 82.10s there. And look to run this back up to 25 to 27s maybe here. One more new low would actually make this look even better, but I don't think we're going to get that. So nice little first trade there in the Nasdaq. Again, I'm not taking it. I just called the trade. As I said, no trades on the day for me. Although that will end up being a really nice trade, so. Take a look at Apple here. 259 and change. Nice push. S&P is back up into that 79 quarter zone there. VIX about to crack lows. Nice trade in the Nasdaq. Hopefully some of you guys picked that up down there. I was a little late getting back to the desk to call that one, but mention what the setup was right before I stepped away there. And again, like I said, looking good up to like kind of 25s to 27s here. So an easy kind of 15 to 12 point, 15 to 17 point trade there. And if it happens all within 5 minutes, that'd be even kind of more impressive. Yeah, kind of 26s there, somewhere through there. S&P's S&P is pushing up through that 80-75 zone, so we're right back into that now. Dow getting a little bit of a push here, only down 0.29% here on the day. Nasdaq is taking the weakest spot, down 0.43%. Russell's kind of like 0.44, kind of teetering back and forth. But hopefully some of you guys picked up that Nasdaq trade right there. That's looking really, really nice. Let's see, MU or HD for longs. I'm not a big fan of MU. If it can trade back above kind of 47.85s, I would get interested in that again. But right now, that looks like a failed daily in MU. HD here. I would have liked it better if it kind of cracked a little bit further today and then was rallying back a little bit better. This thing does kind of move funky. It's got like some spready times. But yeah, I don't see it just yet in HD. You have earnings coming up too, though, in like a week or so. So be cautious with that. Netflix has been doing this base thing. I mean, the hourly chart on Netflix is just absolutely. I mean, these levels are old now, but just basing and basing right here around like kind of 290, 293 area. I do think it breaks at some point. I don't know which way specifically. Here's a good first target for the NASDAQ. So if you guys did pick up a long down there, you're up like 15, 16, 17 points on that trade. It's a nice trade. I mean, $300 per contract in the NASDAQ. This would be a good first target for you. Let me know if any of you guys picked that position up too. That was a really good trade in the NASDAQ. I'm more inclined to believe that Netflix breaks to the upside. What the problem is, I just don't want to get stuck in this. Like, basically, when was this? The end of October. We've gone nowhere in 2 weeks. Like, no thank you. I'd rather wait, let it break out. You might miss the first, like, initial part of the move, but it would have saved you 2 weeks of just sitting here getting theta decada out the wazoo. Oh, nice, Jose. Yeah, you could have taken it with the S&Ps as well. Picked it up late, exited at 82.24. Nice work. I mean, that's a point, 2 points in front of the target there. It's no big deal. But we've literally gone straight from 82.0650s here right up to the 82.26 quarters there. Those levels, again, they're not blue on my chart, which is the normal levels you guys see, just because they are 15-minute levels as opposed to the hourly levels that you'll see me draw for blue. But, I mean, pretty much a 20-point move there. Nice, good work, Corn. Let's see. MRTX. I don't know what this thing is. Oh, it's a pharma thing. Yeah, it looks like all-time highs is 111.99. Just let it run through that. I mean, as long as it's moving, I would not personally be trading this thing. But I mean, that doesn't mean that it doesn't have some redeeming qualities about it. I just don't like the volume and the spread. And this spread's like 60, 70 cents on this thing. But yeah, I'd let it just run up there to the new highs and then just trail it from that point. You got to give it a wider spread. I mean, 60, 70 point spread. You got to give it a little bit of room if you want, obviously, of course. But go right back to the breakout point. Breakout point 12.9671s. And we can clear all drawings in here. Let's take a look at crude. Tesla's right back at that 346.21 level there. And we can delete levels in crude here too. Toss needs like a delete all levels option, like across every ticker. If they do have that and somebody knows, let me know. I don't think they do, but I don't see anything to do with crude here either. It just can't really break up through this kind of 58 level there. We had levels 57.91s. We traded 57.88s. Haven't quite been able to get up through that level yet. So I'm going to let crude do its thing until it can prove that it does want to do that. I mean, smart decisions probably to buy kind of lower into this range here and try and hold on for the potential break, but I don't necessarily like the risk on that, considering it, doesn't necessarily have to do that. Did that on gold the other week, and it didn't work. We couldn't get the breakthrough, so I ended up taking that like loss on gold there. I mean, if you have more than one, then I would take some off, Jose, and then look to hold the rest. Tesla here pushing through. New high of the day for Tesla there, 347.38. The 346.21 held us for 2 attempts this morning, and then now pushing through. Let's take a look and see where this potentially can go. I think it's going to base, though. $360 days. I want to say all-time highs on this thing were like 388s or something. Yeah, 387.46. I mean, up through this level, 346.21s. We've got 349.68s. And then 363.62s. And if we can clear 363.62s, we've got a good shot at like 376s coming in. And then through that, we're new all-time highs. That's a lot of if-then statements in that. But I think it bases out today. I do like the strength in it, though, compared to the rest of the markets. It's up 2.63%, though, and Nasdaq's up, well, nothing. It's down on the day. And see, looks like we got Starbucks turning green on the day for us. Nice little rally there in Starbucks. PYPL, that couldn't quite get down to that next level of support either. WBA, Walgreens, pumping one more time. Why is this showing up? It's gone. CMCSA. Not bad. Netflix, Charter. So a really nice looking pattern in Charter. CHTR. It's new all-time highs over 479.18s here. Monthly options expiration coming up this week as well. And the 475 calls are like $3. This thing makes a move to 500, which would make sense here. That's $3 into 25. The 480 is $1.60. 490s. I think this is a really good swing trade. And I actually am going to put some of this on CHTR. I'm just going to see I'm gonna see if they'll fill this at some different prices here real quick. All right, so CHTR, they're filling the 490 calls at 25 cents. They're filling the 495s at 10 cents. They're probably not going to continue to do that very long. NASDAQ continuing to pop here. Again, I'm going to pick up some of this CHTR here for the week. This is a swing trade, not a day trade. Yeah, this Friday's expiration. The 490s. $495s. IV ranks stupid cheap in here too as well. And having to work up a couple of them. All right, so I picked up some 480s, some 485, some 490 and 495 calls here in CHTR here for the week. And I'm going to get a little bit more of the 480s. So fill me here, let's see. Yeah, just straight calls. I'm just doing some price testing here as well on some of these higher strikes to see where they're filling. I picked up the 480s all the way up to the 500s here in CHTR. In the 500s, they're filling at like 10 cents, which isn't bad. Well, they filled some at 10 cents. Yeah, so let me see if they'll fill the rest of these. That'll be good. All right, cool. So I picked up the 480s, the 485s, the 490s, 495s, and the 500 calls here in CHTR. And let me double check real quick. Yeah, okay. Um, the 480s I got filled at $1.73. Yeah, so all right, so CHTR here. A couple things that I like about the CHTR chart. Number one, I like the daily chart, right? Um, 479.18 is that prior high from up there. It's pulled back and held this, and I'll throw the level in there. It's held this 463 kind of 62 level in here, right? Which has been a really important kind of base level there. That's where we broke out of initially on the run up to 479.18s. If you're looking at kind of the hourly daily chart there, pulled all the way back to that level, has held, essentially once, twice, three times, rallied back up over here on the hourly chart up over 470s going into kind of Friday there, pulled back, small gap down this morning, holding good strength within the first 15 minutes. We rallied back up through the open print there, and then now about to be taken out this 472.60 pivot, which we kind of did. As I was looking to get into the position, we're taking that level out, and it kind of extends a little bit up towards like 473.40s here from back on 11.5. I'm looking at the hourly chart right now, so bottom middle there. And then essentially if we take that out, we're good for a move back up here to kind of 478 and change. So this is going to be first test to kind of that level there, 473.40s or so. So I want to get a little bit in front of that. This thing doesn't have a ton of volume, doesn't have a ton of spread there. So again, I was just trying to bid for some positions in through there, which they were filling mid and a little bit over mid on some of the stuff there. And then, like I said, if we get through that, we're good to 478s. And then from there, this would be new all-time highs here. We're going to be looking for, $500 up there. And if we look at the weekly chart on this thing, you guys can't see the screen I'm looking at, but hold on. If we look at the weekly chart in here, here we go. So look at this weekly, right? We know where the breakout level is, which is 463s, right? We broke up through that level, pulled back, tested a bunch of times, popped up through it, were able to rally the 479.18s, pulled back, held, rally back into the end of the week there, new fresh Monday open. And if we reverse this bar, then it's like, okay, $500, boom. So it's a weekly chart combined with a good looking daily kind of almost cup and handle pattern, if you will. I don't necessarily like to use that as like a phrase, but kind of that like rounded type pattern, similar to what Tesla had on the daily, and very similar to Google's pattern that we took last week as well. The hourly chart on this thing looks really, really nice. That base has taken a ton of time here. We've been basing since the 25th of October, basically. The gap up on earnings, base, one attempt to rally higher, pull back to try and test the lower levels there. Couldn't get the lower levels to trade, right? We couldn't break through those lower levels with a catalyst on the earnings. And now the options expiration week coming into play here. And that's going to be the second part of this is options expiration coming up on Friday. And I think this moves independent of the markets. As long as the markets don't completely crater, which we're kind of at that point to where we'll know, relatively soon in the overall markets. As long as the overall markets don't crater and we at least kind of hold this gap down situation here, then I think you're going to see CHTR to $500 on the week, and maybe even a little bit more, right? Weekly pattern in here looks really, really nice, and excluding kind of, if we can kind of zoom this out a little bit, chart's not doing what I want it to do. Let me maximize. Hold on. All right, so you can see like this was like kind of the last breakout point here was like $400. You can see we got up through it. We pulled back deeper than I would have liked to have seen there. We got up through it again, pulled back deeper than I would have liked to have seen there. This time we pushed up through, so far have pulled back, holding where I would like to see us hold. And essentially we could make this type of run right here very comparable coming into this week. So there's a lot of good looking attributes to this chart. The big thing is, like I said, going to be the markets. I think it moves independent based on the kind of earnings catalyst from last week. So CHTR, I do like. I did pick up a pretty sizable position in here. This is actually on the upper end of the range for size. I currently have, just to kind of put that in perspective for you guys, I currently have a total of 120 contracts in CHTR there across the board, spread between the 480s to the 500s. So again, I do like this position. And it's a good looking swing trade too, I think. So we'll know relatively soon whether or not this position is going to work. Yeah, absolutely. This Amazon just keeps breaking down. Sold the 1755 put deal in there. Just down through here. And I mean, the other thing too is we should see, a move higher in the markets this week off of, monthly options expiration as well. So I would like to see this gap hold. Like I said, if we can hold this gap and get up to those kind of 93.50s in the S&Ps, I think it'll be a really, really good looking kind of week for the markets there. I really want to close out this Amazon position. I think I mismanaged this one a little bit though. The Amazon position was up about like $1,500 to $1,800, kind of up here on highs. Total open P&L right now is like $200. So I gave back, $1,100-$1,500 in profits in Amazon. And what I'm not going to do is let this, Amazon's weak at the moment. So I could be closing it on lows here if market's going to rally. But that swing position in Amazon, again, was up. I mean, good money in there. So I'm going to go ahead and look to just close this out, to be honest. I don't like the added risk for Amazon considering its weakness here. And like I said, I probably mismanaged this one. And that was the selling the 1755, 1750 put spread, buying the 1795, 1780 call spread there. And like I said, I just want to get out of this position here. My risk is to the downside in Amazon, and Amazon's weaker than the overall markets here. So if market has a pullback, then, Amazon obviously could have a deeper pullback. If market holds here, then, obviously Amazon could continue to rally with that. But I just don't like the current look of the position here. And they're not trying to fill me. go. So I did get filled for a 40-cent debit in Amazon. Let me see. I don't know when I put that position on. Let me go take a look here real quick. So yeah, I put that position on for a 67-cent credit and had to buy it back for a 40-cent debit there. So I'll do the breakdown on that trade. I turned a winner into almost a loser there. Amazon's a little different than the CMG position in terms of the management. Amazon was a winner that was looking good. CMG just started off continuously being a loser, so let it run. It had a max defined loss there. But Amazon gave back a good amount of profits actually today alone. Yeah, I mean, I was willing to give it a small pullback there, but it's definitely taken a lot more than that. Really probably should have paid attention to this on Thursday when it broke down pretty hard there in Amazon. And like I said, I think it may hold, but the fact that it hasn't and the market's, rallying back some this morning doesn't leave me a lot of confidence in Amazon there. And Amazon new lows on the day now. McDonald's and UA are two other positions I have to manage out of this week. UA, again, was a nice looking position there at 1.2. And I think with more time, I think that one's still fine. McDonald's here, over 190s is fine. P&L open on that's like $565. So maybe I still like the look on this chart though. I'll give McDonald's some room on the week to prove itself out. Up 0.23% there. Gold broke down nicely here so far, down $8 now. I should have mentioned this one a little bit ago. 1454.50s here in gold. Like I said, this thing still has room to the downside. No longs in gold. Coming right off that opening print there of the day, 1463.20s there. 987 tick chart rally back and then just annihilated about 10 points so far off of those levels. Opening print's a really, really important level. If you guys are not watching it, then I don't know why you're not. Would be the only thing I could say to that. What price in CHTR would you consider buying more? I'm not going to add to CHTR. I already have 120 contracts in that, so I think I have enough. I mean, I think anywhere through here is pretty much fine in this CHTR. Realistically, we're looking at hourly closes kind of above 473.27s. 472.28. So there's like $1 range there. As long as we can kind of close above that, or potentially even inside that zone, I think it's fine. Prior high back in here, 474.30. So create an alert. What did I say? 474.30s. Yeah, so 474.31s. That's probably going to get hit before I get the alert in. There we go. What did I pay for the 500 calls? My average trade price is 10.108. So a little over 10 cents there. And CHTR pushing through that level there. We got about 10 minutes to go here before the hourly close. So I'll like a good, strong hourly close in this name. Again, it's got some spread to it, like 30, 40 cents at times. So when you see price just kind of back and forth 30, 40, 50 cents, that's literally just the spread. 479.18 is the prior highs up there. So I'm going to create an alert for 79.19s. And then let this thing do its work. Nice, go work, Jose. Hit your 83s, didn't it? To the tick, 30 83s. And so far, a pretty quiet session overall. Russell's kind of the standout one here at the moment. If we're looking at the 4 grid, Russell was the weakest this morning. It was down over 5.50%, excuse me. Now it's only down 0.22% here, and is the is the quote unquote strongest here in terms of percentage change on the day. And it just put in new highs on the day here in this 5-minute bar. None of the other markets doing so far. But again, just a slow kind of, choppy-ish day, if you will. Bonds, 38,000 contracts traded on the day. So we've done like 8,000 more contracts from the open, or a little bit before the open when we talked about that one. Gold here down $8 on the day. Think that's to be expected. Everything else looking to be pretty orderly here. Tesla pulls back to 341. Would you enter it for a day trade? That's a pretty important, like 346.21 is a pretty important level here. So, I don't think I would. I don't think I would in there just yet. If it can base out here today, yeah, and that's going to be the only issue. Tesla really needed to kind of hold up there closer to 346.21s to prove better. I'm kind of thinking this may end up being, if Tesla closes weak, it's going to be a good short, actually. Back down under 333s. Depending on where this thing closes at, because it'll be like that failed kind of breakout there. Something similar to what we saw with Roku, kind of up in here. Something similar to that. The pattern is not quite the same, but I think we could see something similar to that. Not to the same extent, obviously, to the downside. I don't actually know a chart that has a similar pattern at the moment to make the comparison, but let's see here. What was it, NVIDIA maybe? We've seen one recently similar. NASDAQ new highs on the day, S&P's new highs on the day there. All right, I'm gonna mute the mic for a little bit. It's 10:25 here. We nailed the low of the day though, in the Nasdaq there off that divergence. And again, first targets there were 26 quarters. We've hit that. We pulled back. This pullback traded 19 quarters. Opening print on the day was 19s for the Nasdaq. And we're just continuing to push higher there. So that would be about the only day trade I think I see on the day here that's actually set up would be the Nasdaq long off those lows, or potentially even gold short off that opening print recheck there on the day. That's about the only thing I think I've seen from what I've scanned so far. Bonds are in no touch on the day. Crazy low volume in there, which was, again, to be expected. So it's not like it's a big, kind of surprise or anything here. Amazon was, like I said, kind of a weak thing there. It's, coming back a little bit now, like $3-4. So like I said, I might have closed that at the lows, but I definitely managed that position wrong from the get-go. Not from the get-go, but up there kind of at highs. The most I could have made on that position was $2,500. So when it was up, $1,800, like I had almost the vast majority of profits in that trade. So it's like kind of, for Nadex traders, it's like you can only make $100 on the Nadex contract and it's at like $85 and you don't close it. So, I would say that's pretty stupid on my part. But it ends up happening. So, at this point, we're rallying back pretty decent though. And like I said, kind of to be expected, holiday, lighter volume, kind of churn to the upside, and options expiration week as well. And we're holding support. So we got the hourly close in like 3 minutes. So far, that looks good, really pretty much across the board there. So anyways, I'm going to mute the mic for a little bit. Let me know if you guys have any questions. But just kind of easing back into the week here. Picked up that swing position in CHTR. And that's going to be about it for me on the day here, I believe. So anyways, thank you guys. Let me know if you have questions. I'll be right here, and I can come back on. Apple about to go green. Take a look at that. Yeah, Apple going green here at about 5 cents there. Apple's just basing like really, really hard. I don't know what to do with this thing. IV ranks too low to sell puts, and it just goes higher every day. It sells off, goes higher, sells off, goes higher. So it's kind of basing around this 260 though, which is pretty nice, but we'll see what it wants to do here. I don't see anything to do with it at the moment, but it going green. Let's see if NASDAQ goes green on the day. That'd be interesting. CHTR has a really similar pattern to Microsoft here when you look at them on the hourly chart. Microsoft gets the gap up, bases sideways here, and now kind of starting to get that breakout. CHTR very similar. So I like that. Anyways, that's what I got. I'm going to mute the mic. I'll still be here for a little bit. I'm going to start working on some other stuff. And then, like I said, pretty relaxed day to start getting some other stuff done there. So anyways, thank you guys. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, coming up to 11 o'clock here. I'm gonna give some, yeah, like Trevor's asking, the thoughts on the S&Ps right here, and then probably wrap it up and call it a day, and get started on some other things there. So what I'm seeing right now, the gap down situation, we've rallied up, we've closed above, back above this zone here. So at the moment, I'm not necessarily looking for longs. I'm not necessarily looking for shorts. I like the long side bias a little bit better. We can trade back down into this zone here, 80 75s to 79 quarters. And then as long as we can hold that, then I think we're good to continue to the upside. Overall, it's looking like a pretty slow, kind of holiday looking day. I mean, 440,000 contracts traded on the day so far, which seems to be, fairly kind of normal, it looks like, for this point. No real kind of crazy shaking movement one way or another. So at the moment, I don't think there's really a trade unless you want to try and buy this pullback here. I think there'll be better trade opportunities kind of later in this week. And again, why I chose, not to day trade today. Again, I did put on a swing position in CHTR, closed out a swing position there in Amazon today. But that's all I've done so far here. The Nasdaq had a really nice setup down there with the divergence. So called that in the room earlier, right around 82.10s. So it could be long the Nasdaq here. First targets are 26 quarters there, and then could still continue to hold some of that to work towards the gap here. I really want to see a nice move one direction or another here, kind of across the board in the markets. 20, 30 points for the S&Ps one way or another, and really kind of set the tone for in terms of direction. Otherwise, I think it's just, like I said, fairly sloppy, choppy type of action that I, necessarily don't want to be a part of. Gold breaking down here is down $13 on the day. Bonds here are now unchanged. Again, only 43,000 contracts traded on the day. That makes sense there. We had a couple names moving this morning, such as like Tesla. So Tesla here was moving earlier this morning. It's now back up at those 346.21s here. If we can base out around this level, then I think Tesla is good for a long side trade. For a move, we put levels in above here. 363. Hold on. Actually, there's one more level there. 349.68s and then 363.62s in Tesla. So I think 349.68s or 350, if you will, could probably trade today off this level. I'm personally not going to take it. Again, no day trades here for me today. Easing back into things here. Amazon weaker today than I would have expected. Google pulled back to kind of the breakout point here and really not doing too much there. So overall, I think it's a very kind of quiet day. The 1 to maybe 3 trades on the day would be about it. In terms of day trades here, I think realistically it's only one that I've seen in the Nasdaq at least. If you were watching gold, you had another opportunity, of course, but otherwise I think it's just a really kind of slow do-nothing day. S&P is holding those 80.75 so far, getting a little bit of a bounce out of there. But again, I'm not looking to do anything with this, and I'm going to let the swing positions work themselves out. I've got, just closed Amazon today, opened up CHTR, so I'm long CHTR here. I am long CMG, which that position is pretty much at max loss. That position's been on for a couple of weeks now. MCD here, that position's up about $450 open P&L. Currently long that as well, MCD, McDonald's. And then long a little bit of UA here. We'd like to see a move back kind of over $16 in there, but I'll manage that position out, kind of accordingly this week as well. So I don't think it's a week to really get, too pressy here. The best thing I see is that CHTR. It is going to be monthly options expiration week. Market tends to have kind of a grind to the upside during that time. And what I'm seeing right now is if we can manage to kind of hold this move down, start to work on our rally back, and then work our way up into kind of some upper levels. I think we're looking at 93.50s for the S&Ps. And then through that, I think we're looking at, new all-time highs up to 3100s here for the week. So That could easily come, kind of tomorrow, if you will. Overnight highs in the S&Ps are 92 quarters. So 10 points higher here gets us back to puts in new highs kind of on the day in the overnight session. I don't think that would be too much to necessarily ask for, but I do think the large majority of today's kind of action is done for. Russell was stronger, came back, now giving back more. It's down 0.36% here, which is actually putting it in a tie with the Dow for being the weakest. So again, most likely if you're trying to trade this lunchtime, 11 o'clock to the close, realistically, I wouldn't even just call it lunchtime. I would call it the rest of the day. I think it's going to be really choppy. Most likely you're going to get whipped up, and that's something that I want to try and avoid. So again, I'm just going to avoid it and not trade at all. I think overall, like I said, I'd like to see a big move one direction or another. I'd like to see like a 20-point S&P day one way or another, just really start getting that trend going, really start pressing, and then from there, start looking at continuations in that direction. So I'm going to be patient this week. CHTR, the only thing that I've put on here so far this week, and going to kind of follow through with that for the week. As we talked about this morning, it's 1 and 2 trades each week that are really kind of putting in the work and pulling the profits out. So I want to stick with that as well there. So that's what I'm seeing for right now in the markets. If you guys had a good day, then most likely you took the long off lows in the Nasdaq, or you took shorts in gold, something like that. Those two trends I think continue here. Gold getting a little bit of a rally back now, only down 10. But yeah, overall, no complaints on the day. Followed through with the plan. Only put on a swing trade. No day trades, even though I called the one in the Nasdaq that looked really, really good there. And that's up, 24 points roughly from the entry, or at least 24 points from the potential entry there. So anyways, that's what I'm seeing right here. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for the day. And we'll kind of come back and, I've got alerts and stuff like that set. And I'm really honestly not even going to pay attention to the markets for the rest of the day. We'll just come back and kind of see where this ends up settling out for the day and what we've got going into tomorrow. Again, it was bank holiday. Markets are expected to be, fairly slow. And I'm going to take a look and see. Yeah, nothing coming out tomorrow in terms of news. A little bit coming out on Wednesday. Yeah. 8:30 a.m. and 11 a.m. there. The timing on Forex Factory calendar was off. It was an hour ahead. I guess daylight savings time really kind of messed that up a bit. So if you guys do have to do that, if it was showing 9:30 for CPI numbers on Wednesday, those numbers are actually going to be 8:30 Eastern. So anyways, that's what I got. Thank you guys so much. I will see you guys back here tomorrow. We will break it up into the normal stream kind of process there, and we'll be back looking at some day trades and actively participating here as long as there's things that set up. So thank you guys again so much. I will see you guys back here. If you're new on YouTube, be sure to click that subscribe button, hit the little bell notification so you know when we go live each and every morning. And as always, if you want to join myself, Perry, Rob, Jay, everybody else in the Discord there, then click that first link in the description below. It'll get you all the details there, and would be happy to see you guys in there. So take care, enjoy the rest of your trading day, and I'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Peace.